Hello, this is Dr. Tina. Thank you for being here with me. Today, I'm going to brief you on how to prepare for your nurse practitioner certification exams, or how to pass your nurse practitioner certification exam. By the way, I took family nurse practitioner, and I'm just going to share whatever I did that helped me pass. First of all, there are two certifications you have choices of. You can either choose to write with ANCC, or you can choose to write with AANP. Of course, I have two certifications. That does not mean that you should also have two certifications, because I have my reasons for that. I registered to say whatever that I'll pass, I would just take that one first and not take the other. Fortunately, when I passed the first one, I said, I'm not going to even write it. Let me see if they're going to refund my money for me. But the amount that they were going to give me, I wasn't happy about it. So I decided to take the ANCC as well. That is why I ended up with two. But according to the book that I was reading so much, if you don't want to be nervous, but you want to just have the calmness to write your test, then to avoid any anxiety, one of the strategies is to register for both. So in case you don't pass the other, then you may pass the other. But fortunately, I passed, and I decided not to be. My refund was little, so I ended up writing. And during the test, I felt like that was the worst decision I made, because I had to pray every minute that, oh God, forgive me that I came back again. I was selfish. But at the end of it all, I passed, so I was so excited, because both exams are two different types of exams. So the difference between both certification is that AANP is mostly clinical based. That means that whatever clinical aspects, what would you do to a patient? What do you think this happened if the patient has this blood pressure, what medication? So it's mostly clinical based. And then ANCC is, I felt like it was all over the place. It was cultural competencies, the way it's all over the place. You cannot, it wasn't specifically clinical based, so it was everywhere, government, culture, everything, so it was included. So patient-centered care, research, it was all over the place. So that is the difference. So AANP is clinical based, while the ANCC, it cut across everything. And in fact, studying for ANCC was hard, because I didn't have specific book to concentrate on. I was going to this place, but what helped me was the online review I bought to review about it. Well, so you have done so well, extremely well, to come this far, to be able to go take your exams. That means you have worked so hard, because graduating from nurse practitioner school wasn't easy at all. I will tell you, because the final stage, we had to pass an exams before you could graduate, and that exams wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke. It was full of sleepless nights. It was hard. It was really hard. So we had to take that before you could graduate. So if you have graduated, then I applaud you, because you have done so well. Anyway, so congratulations on graduating. You're heading towards your final stage, which is your certification, and then you'll be licensed in your state. Some of the books that I use so many books. I mean, any books that somebody will recommend, I was using it. And so something like this book is just a pocket book, and it says OBP's Women Health Notes. So it cut across like OBGYN and a pediatrician, so everything we need to know about it. Assessment, medication and IV administration, calculation tools and formulas, teaching points and common procedures, prenatal care, postpartum and newborn care, sexually transmitted infections, pediatric assessment, growth and development screening, pain assessment, common emergencies. So these are what it contains, and this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. So in case you want something quick, and let's say you are somewhere and you just waiting on something and you want to just glance through, I think this is good. You can refer. And of course, when you become nurse practitioner, so you can use it as your reference. Another one that I used, I think this one I used it in school. It says Pediatric Facts Made Incredibly Quick. And so it was basically about pediatrics, what you do as a nurse practitioner with your pediatrics. So it was a quick reference. Another book that I use, usually I bought most pediatrics because they were limited emphasis on that, and so I felt like I needed to know much, and so I usually buy pediatric books. This one says pediatric emergence or urgent ambulatory care. Those are some of the books I used, and of course after graduation you can still use it. And like this one, it has a sketch about the ear, showing you everything. And you know that mostly pediatrics have issues with ear. Most of the time, if they have cold or anything, you need to look into their ears, because their ear is very important. They tend to have infection of the ear. This part has the drawing and everything. So these are some of the books I used. I usually did not put so much emphasis on those, but when it came for me to write my board exams, my go-to number one was this one. I studied this from head to toe. From head to toe. Like, I read this book about, if I'm not afraid to say, about 5 times. It got to a point that I could say what is in chapter 10, what is in chapter 1, what is in chapter this, because I read it many times. So many times. And I didn't buy a new one. It was old. This is the one I actually used. By the time I finished reading this book was crying. You see, it's falling apart. This book was crying. Like, I read, and this is how I read. If you look closely, you see I have so much written in it. That's how mostly I read. So I use pencil to make sure I read everything. I mean, I even started from all the certification exam information. I started from that. I read every bit of this book. I read it, and read it, and read it. So you could imagine all this painting. I use pencil so that it's going to be easy to erase. I read this book. I read it very well. And the good thing about this book is that it does have questions, practice questions at the back. So many questions. Let me see how many it was. So many questions at the back. About 600 and something. See. So 642 questions. 642 questions, practice questions in this book itself. And so it's very good, and it tests your knowledge to see if everything you studied stick. And one thing about the book is that it has some parts that says exam tips. So after you read the book, then it will show you some exam tips that you need to really pay attention to that. And I think that was very important, very important. So the practice question, start from here, 1 to 649. I solved these questions multiple times, and this is what I did. I made sure that I read the rationale, because when you come to the answers, it comes with answers, and each answer comes with a rationale. I made sure I read each rationale. When my exams was that close, I will solve the question. I'll just look at the questions and maybe number 200 and solve the questions without looking, and then come and review it. And then my last stage, I started answering the questions in. So you could see that I circled all these questions. I read this book. I can't believe I've forgotten everything now. Because I read this book so much that I could say chapter 10 and I would know everything in chapter 10. It was that bad. I would go to the library in the morning and wait for them to open the library for me. When they open, I'll be the first, and I have my favorite spot, so I did not want anybody to take over that spot. So, and I go to that spot. The only time is taking a break. And I have kids, so I have to take them along. And fortunately, during summer, the library does have classes for kids, so that was good. It would take over my kids, and I would concentrate on those. Until the library closes, they say 5 minutes to closing, then I gather my stuff. That time there wasn't any COVID, so the library was closing late. That's my off days. That's what I was doing basically. And I was making sure I studied. I studied so much. I studied like so much. I studied so much. And then there's some parts that helped me with ANCC. Like nursing research review. This part helped. I concentrated mostly on these parts towards the ANCC. But other than that, everything was about AANP. And so theories, research, those were mostly the ANCC. So basically the book, before you reach the practice questions, all those chapters were focused on ANCC questions. That's where I studied for cultural awareness, traditionals, stuff they do. So medical, legal, ethics, and advanced practice were all concentrated on. That's what I believe it was for the ANCC. So just when you read a book, just pay attention to where it says exam tips, and that's very important because they are more into that. So when it comes from here to where it says that the practice question, you have to, if you are taking the ANCC, then you have to concentrate on that and study it very carefully, very detailed. You study that before you get to the questions. Those were very important. It talks about Medicare and Medicaid. It talks about malpractice lawsuits, health insurance, malpractice insurance, legal issues, ethical concepts like normal persons, all these, justice, all these, you must pay attention to those. Healthcare power of attorney, case and risk management, research and clinical care. Then theoretical concepts, that's health belief model. Those were the parts that I would say concentrate on for your ANCC. Nursing research, I think I've shown this. You must pay attention. That's where institute review boards, vulnerable populations, research designs, and types of studies like qualitative versus quantitative, descriptive, all those things. Look at what I did. So I studied this book. If I say I studied, like there wasn't any page you don't see a pencil. If I don't have a pencil, that means I didn't read that. That's each and every part of it. I read this book. So after reading this book, there are so many reviews online that you can also register. I did do some like board vitals. I did sign up to see how I would do on the test, and that prepares you to, because there will be exams, questions, and time yourself. So that helps you get prepared so that you'll be able to sit at one point and take all the exams and finish to see how you do. And then the percentage, you will see how you are doing it, to see everything you study sticks in your brains. So I did that. I did sign up for other reviews too, but I don't remember them. Some were just a few weeks, and so it charges you according to the weeks that you spend with it. So those ones, I don't even remember them, but I remember using board vitals, and so many questions. You can time yourself, you can do as many as you want, and so those help me to think that, oh, I'm prepared, I'm ready, I'm not ready. Some people also went for live review. I didn't do that, but I did also have Berkeley audio that I will put in my car, and I will be listening to it. That one to help me with ANCC, and so I'll be listening to it, and it's like the whole book it will be reading to you, and that was very helpful. In case you are driving, you can be listening to it. I did that, but the most book I did was this Lake book, the one I've shown you. I didn't go wrong with this. It was, I don't want to say my Bible, but that was it. It was very helpful, and if you concentrate on that, I'm sure you're gonna ace the AANP. For ANCC, the latter part of it helps, and that's very helpful. And then I bought review online to review, and then I will be solving so many questions. I solved so many questions about it. I would test myself, and I wasn't doing well on those tests, and I was thinking, hey, yeah, everything I've studied, it looks like I'm not getting it, but over and over you become used to how to take the exams, and you'll be doing well. And when you feel comfortable, then you go take your test. You can push your test backwards as many times as you want. And if you want a live review, Margaret Fisher, all those people, they do it, and people tell good stuff about them. I remember our school did one of them for us. It wasn't a review, but it wasn't a live review, but it was some of their books and some of their websites, and it was helpful as well. So if you are somebody that loves to study together with other folks too, I will encourage you to do that. You can form a study partner. But during this time, I studied by myself. I was able to concentrate fully. But if you have somebody to discuss, let's say, questions with, I think it will help a little bit. And also, when you go to the test, make sure that you read your question thoroughly to understand it. Once you choose your answer, don't come back and change it. I'm fond of you doing that, and that has helped me so many ways. So I encourage others not to do that. So just when you choose your answer, go with what your intuition says, go with what your first thing says, and that's you will pass. I wish you good luck, and I hope these tips helps. And if you have any question, or if you have any suggestions also, or something you did that helped you, just put it at a comment. Thank you, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button and share. You can share with others so that they will know the tips and also learn from that. Again, this is Dr. Tina. Thank you. You have a good day. Bye.